thought Quincy Hall had no chance, but in the last few seconds, something wild happened. He started flying down the track, passing the world's fastest runners one by one. Was it luck, skill, or something else? This won't believe how it ends. Quincy Hall wasn't someone who grew up in the spotlight. He spent his early years in Kansas City, Missouri, going to Raytown South High School. There, he ran track but also played football and wrestled, staying far from the viral attention that national record-breaking sprinters often get. Even though he set a Missouri state record in the 400 meters with a time of 46.82 seconds, he still didn't make big headlines or blow up on social media during those years. Instead, he just kept his head down and trained hard, step by step, building himself up for bigger stages. After high school, he moved to California to attend the College of the Sequoias, where he kept growing as an athlete, competing in multiple events before finally making his way into the spotlight. The transition from hurdles to the flat 400 meters isn't an easy one. It takes a completely different rhythm, pacing, and mindset, and many athletes struggle with the switch. But for Quincy Hall, this move changed everything. In 2023, after a string of injuries slowed down his progress in the 400-meter hurdles, he made a bold decision to focus fully on the flat 400 meters. This wasn't just a small adjustment, it meant reworking his technique, his endurance training, and his entire race strategy, but setbacks left him with no other choice. And the competition he was stepping into was no joke. He was entering a world ruled by giants like Michael Norman, America's record holder, Karani James, an Olympic and world medalist, and Wade Van Niekerk, the world record holder. Every runner there had the potential to go under 44 seconds. Once again, Quincy found himself in the role of the underdog. But he wasn't starting from scratch. He carried the grit and discipline he built through hurdles into this new challenge. For him, this wasn't just about changing events. It was the start of a meteoric rise. And with newfound clarity, Hall honed his raw power and refined his mechanics. He trained with relentless focus, adjusting his stride, improving his opening 200-meter splits, and sharpening his finishing kick. He was building for a breakout. He just needed the stage. And that stage came at the U.S. trials for the 2023 World Athletics Championships. This was Quincy Hall's big test, a race where even a tiny fraction of a second could decide whether your season ends in heartbreak or triumph. The 400-meter final was packed with talent. Bryce Deadman, Vernon Norwood, and Justin Robinson were all there, fighting for those precious few spots on Team USA. Quincy wasn't the favorite going in, but when the gun went off, he didn't care about who people expected to win. He was there to give it everything. From the start, he stayed calm and focused, keeping himself within striking distance of the leaders. As they came down the backstretch, the pressure was intense, but Quincy held his nerve. And then, in the final 150 meters, he made his move. He surged forward with power. He could see he was gaining ground with every step. One by one, he passed his competitors, pushing himself into third place in those last few meters. When he crossed the line with a personal best of 44.41 seconds, he had done more than just qualify for Team USA. That race proved that Quincy Hall wasn't just another name in the lineup, he was ready to stand among the elite. Qualifying was one thing, performing on the world stage was another. The 2023 World Championships in Budapest were electric. Every race brought drama, heartbreak, and triumph. And in the men's 400 meters, the world waited to see who would rise. Hall lined up in the semifinal with poise. He needed a strong performance to make the final, and once again, he delivered. Running with control and maturity, he placed confidently to secure his place among the world's best. But it was the final that would become the stuff of sprinting legend. As the athletes settled into their blocks, the tension was palpable. Wade Van Niekerk, the world record holder, was back. Antonio Watson of Jamaica was peaking. And Hall was in lane 6, a precarious but manageable position. The gun cracked, and the race was on. For the first half of the race, Hall remained composed in the pack. As they approached the final turn, he was outside medal contention. But then came the decisive moment, a powerful sprint down the home stretch that stole the bronze and stunned everyone on the track. But what happened next stunned the athletics world. Quincy Hall's final 100 meters were a perfect mix of resilience and precision. As the race entered the home stretch and the field started bunching up, Quincy found another gear within himself. Coming off the last curve, he exploded forward with power, but his form stayed calm and controlled. With every step, he closed in on the leaders. Down the straight, he surged past his teammate Vernon Norwood in those final moments. He gave one last determined push at the finish line, crossing in a personal best of 44.37 seconds and earning the bronze medal at the 2023 World Championships in Budapest. But it wasn't just the medal that made this moment so special. It was the way he did it, moving from out-of-medal position to standing on the podium in just a few seconds. That final stretch wasn't only about speed, it was a moment, straight from the heart. Quincy Hall's comeback was purely about redemption. Years of underestimation, injury, and hard choices culminated in one defining performance. He had etched his name into history not with fanfare, but with sheer willpower, and the impact rippled beyond the track. Hall's story became an inspiration for athletes across disciplines, proof that the route to greatness isn't always straight. Sometimes it requires detours, pivots, and comebacks that redefine the limits of perseverance. What stood out most was Hall's humility. In interviews, he credited his coaches, his training partners, and his faith. There were no bold boasts or arrogant postures, just quiet confidence and gratitude. That humility, paired with that relentless fire, made his performance all the more iconic. After the World Championships, Quincy Hall didn't rest on his laurels. He continued competing, sharpening his craft, and setting his sights on the future, especially the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. With momentum on his side and confidence in his corner, he was no longer the underdog. He was a contender, a threat, a name that demanded respect. Analysts began to note his unique blend of endurance and finishing power. Unlike runners who fade after a strong start, Hall builds throughout the race, making him especially dangerous in high-pressure finals. His race IQ was evolving, and with every meet, he was inching closer to becoming a 400-meter titan. And perhaps what makes Hall's story so unforgettable is that it wasn't scripted. There was no guarantee, no viral hype machine behind him, just a man who refused to stop chasing what he believed he could become. When people speak of sprinting comebacks of raw, heart-overwhelming odds, Quincy Hall will be a name they remember. Because in the face of doubt, fatigue, and elite competition, he found another gear. And in that moment, the world watched a champion emerge.
Potomac, Maryland, this is Quincy Wilson.
What can we not say about this youngster? He runs with the maturity of someone a decade older than him.
How fast would a 17-year-old have to run to break records, stun Olympic coaches, and make the world stop and watch? Quincy Wilson didn't just answer that question. A 17-year-old just ran faster than most Olympic champions ever have, and he's not even in college yet. On Saturday in Memphis, Tennessee, Quincy Wilson didn't just break a world record, he absolutely destroyed it. The teenage sensation from Maryland clocked 44.10 seconds in the 400 meters, shattering his own under-18 world record and leaving the track and field world completely stunned. To put this in perspective, this kid just ran a time that would have won Olympic gold in multiple past Olympics, and he's still in high school. Let's break down exactly what happened at the Ed Murphy Classic in Memphis. Wilson stepped onto the track carrying the weight of massive expectations. He already held the world under-18 record with a time of 44.20 seconds from last year, but nobody expected what came next. When the gun fired, Wilson exploded from the blocks like his life depended on it. "I went out there and shot out like a bullet," he said after the race, and that's exactly what it looked like. He maintained his speed through the first 200 meters, stayed strong around the turn, and then kicked it into another gear in the final straight. The clock stopped at 44.10 seconds. A new world under 18 record. The crowd went absolutely wild. Wilson had just improved his own record by 1/10 of a second, which might not sound like much, but in the 400 meters, that's a massive jump. Here's where things get crazy. Wilson's 44.10 seconds makes him the fourth fastest man in the world this year across all ages. Not just among teenagers, not just among high schoolers, among every single 400 meter runner on the planet in 2025. Only 3 Americans have run faster than Wilson this season: Caleb McRae with 43.91, Sha'Carri Richardson with 43.98, and that's it. This 17-year-old is literally competing with the world's best professional athletes and winning. On the all-time world under-18 list, Wilson is now 74 hundredths of a second faster than the second-best junior sprinter in history. That's not just breaking the record, that's completely rewriting what we thought was possible for someone his age. Wilson's journey to this record-breaking performance has been nothing short of extraordinary. This isn't some overnight sensation who came out of nowhere. He's been building toward this moment for years. Last summer, at just 16 years old, Wilson made history by becoming the youngest male Olympic track and field medalist ever. He was part of the USA's 4x400 meter relay team that won gold at the Paris Olympics. Think about that. While most kids his age were worried about getting their driver's license, Wilson was standing on top of the Olympic podium with a gold medal around his neck. But even before the Olympics, Wilson was making waves. At the Penn Relays in April, he ran a 43.99 split in the 4x400 relay, the fastest split ever recorded at that competition by a high school student. That performance put the entire track world on notice that something special was brewing. What's perhaps most impressive about Wilson isn't just his physical abilities, it's his mental toughness. Racing at the highest level as a teenager comes with enormous pressure. Every race is analyzed, every performance is scrutinized, and every social media post is dissected. Wilson now has 393,000 followers on Instagram. He's dealing with fame at a level most professional athletes never experience, and he's doing it while still attending the bully school in Maryland and maintaining his grades. I feel like when it comes with being who I am, the fame and everything has gone up and escalated, Wilson said. I'm just thankful for it. Every single part of it. You'll have the goods and you'll have the bad. But those are the things that make Quincy Wilson. Even during Saturday's race, Wilson encountered both fans cheering him on and hecklers trying to throw him off his game. His response: he ran the fastest time of his life. That's the mark of a true champion. Let's talk about what makes Wilson's running so special. The 400 meters is often called the most brutal race in track and field. It's too long to sprint the entire way, but too short to pace yourself like a distance runner. You have to find the perfect balance between speed and endurance. Wilson has mastered this balance better than runners twice his age. His coach Joe Lee has developed a training program that's clearly working. Staying to my coach's plan and trusting his process, Wilson explained, I feel like this season is really starting to come upon what I've been working for right now. The fact that Wilson can maintain his speed throughout the entire 400 meters is what separates him from other young sprinters. Many teenagers can run fast for 200 meters, but Wilson can sustain that speed for twice as long. Wilson's 44.10 puts him in striking distance of some serious history. The world under 20 record stands at 43.87 seconds, set by American Steve Lewis when he won Olympic gold at the 1988 Seoul Olympics. Lewis was 19 when he set that record. Wilson is still 17. If Wilson can drop just 23 hundredths of a second, he'll own the fastest time ever run by anyone under 20 years old. Based on his current trajectory, that record is definitely within reach. Wilson's success isn't just about medals and records, it's also about money. He has a name, image, and likeness deal with New Balance, which is allowing him to profit from his athletic success while still in high school. This is a relatively new development in amateur athletics, and Wilson is one of the biggest beneficiaries. The question now is what comes next? Will Wilson compete in college, or will he turn professional and start earning serious money immediately? With performances like Saturday's, he could probably command a significant professional contract right now. Wilson's immediate goal is the USA Track and Field Outdoor Championships at the end of the month. The top 3 finishers in the 400 meters will make the team for the World Championships in Tokyo in September. The competition will be fierce. Wilson will face Olympic gold medalist Quincy Hall, World Indoor Champion Chris Bailey, and World Outdoor Champion Michael Norman. These are the best 400 meter runners in the world, and Wilson will be going head-to-head with all of them. But here's the thing. Wilson has already proven he belongs on that stage. His 44.10 makes him competitive with anyone in the world. If he can run that time again or even faster, faster, he'll not only make the team, but could be a serious contender for a medal. Wilson's success represents something bigger than just one fast teenager. He's inspiring a new generation of young athletes to dream bigger and reach higher. When kids see someone their age competing with the world's best, it changes what they think is possible. He's also putting American sprinting back on the map. For too long, other countries have dominated the 400 meters. Wilson's emergence gives the USA a potential superstar who could dominate the event for the next decade. So what is it about Wilson that makes him so special? It's not just his speed, though. That's obviously important. It's his maturity, his work ethic, and his ability to perform under pressure. Most 17-year-olds would crumble under the weight of expectations that Wilson carries. Instead, he thrives. He treats every race like it's the most important one of his life, and he consistently delivers when it matters most. His coach Joe Lee deserves credit too. Finding the right balance between pushing a young athlete and not burning them out is incredibly difficult. Lee has managed to maximize Wilson's potential while keeping him healthy and motivated. Wilson's 44.10 is just the beginning. He's still growing, still getting stronger, and still learning the technical aspects of the race. If he's running these times as a 17-year-old, what will he be capable of at 20? At 25? The track and field world is watching, and Wilson is delivering. He's not just meeting expectations, he's exceeding them in ways that seemed impossible just a few years ago. Saturday's performance in Memphis was more than just a new record. It was a statement. Quincy Wilson is here. He's for real, and he's just getting started. The 400 meters will never be the same.
Second attempt here in the women's 100 meters heat 5, and they are away. Sha'Carri Richardson eases across the line. 10:92, that's the fastest time we've seen so far this morning.
Sha'Carri Richardson just posted 2 simple words on Twitter that have the entire track world buzzing with anticipation and anxiety. No fear. That's all it took to send fans into overdrive as speculation runs wild about what this means for the rest of the 2025 season. The timing of Richardson's no fear tweet couldn't be more significant. The World 100-meter champion has had a concerning start to the 2025 season, racing only once at the Seiko Grand Prix in Tokyo, where she finished 4th with a disappointing time of 11.42 seconds. For an athlete who dominated the 2023 World Championships and holds the current world lead, this performance sent alarm bells, ringing throughout the track community. Meanwhile, her rivals have been putting on a show. Julian Alfred, who defeated Richardson for Olympic gold in Paris, remains undefeated in all her 100-meter and 200-meter races this season. Richardson's own training partner, Melissa Jefferson Wooden, has been producing incredible performances at the Grand Slam Track League. Richardson entered the Paris Olympics carrying enormous expectations. After her 2021 doping violation kept her out of Tokyo, she had declared, "I'm not back, I'm better," following her victory at the 2023 U.S. Championships. The world was watching, anticipating a golden performance from America's sprint sensation. Instead, Julian Alfred of St. Lucia stunned the track world, claiming gold with a blistering 10.72 seconds, while Richardson settled for silver at 10.78 seconds. The 180,854 spectators in Paris witnessed Alfred's historic victory. But the internet's reaction to Richardson's performance was brutal and immediate. Alfred's victory celebration in the rain became an iconic moment, with St. Lucia's population dancing in the streets after witnessing their first Olympic track and field gold medal. The circumstances surrounding the Paris final made Richardson's silver even more controversial. 3 of Jamaica's sprint legends were notably absent from the competition. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce withdrew ahead of the semifinals due to an undisclosed injury suffered during warm-up, though controversy emerged when she was denied access to the warm-up area due to new regulations requiring athletes to arrive on team buses. Shericka Jackson withdrew from the 100-meter race to focus on the 200-meter event, only to later withdraw from that race as well for undisclosed reasons. Elaine Thompson-Herah, the defending Olympic champion, couldn't compete due to an Achilles tendon injury sustained at the New York Grand Prix. Social media exploded with criticism. One fan wrote on X, "No Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Shericka Jackson, and Elaine Thompson-Herah, but your fave Sha'Carri Richardson still can't win the women's 100 meters. Fraud." The absence of Jamaica's sprint queens due to injuries and withdrawals had seemingly cleared Richardson's path to gold. making her silver medal feel like a missed opportunity to her critics. The backlash intensified with comments like, "She's a confirmed fraud TBH, all this hype for another choke job, and first and only silver? I thought this BH was good, thought she was the GOAT, or some sent the way y'all been hyping her up." These harsh reactions reflected the enormous pressure and expectations placed on Richardson's shoulders. Her performance issues weren't new. Four-time Olympic gold medalist Michael Johnson had previously criticized her starting technique, stating, "Sha'Carri's start is very, very inconsistent. It's a real struggle, real problem for her." This weakness haunted her in Paris, where she once again got off the blocks slowly and couldn't recover in time to catch Alfred. Technical analysis of the race disclosed that Richardson's reaction time and first